All right, babe. What are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about dads doing burpees.
Say it's so provocative.
Maybe it is.
That is
and
pretty.
we'll get into that.
It is pretty hot. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, you're doing a challenge called Dads Doing Burpees. And so I thought it would be really cool to talk about it.
That's perfect. Let's get into it. You're listening to the Revive Couple Podcast. We're Michael and Laura, and together we'll explore everything relationships, personal responsibility, feminine and masculine dynamics, communication, and just some all-around real and raw conversations.
Drawing from our 18 years together with a bit of sarcasm, humor, tears, a few and lots of love, we deep dive into the male and female perspectives on relationships and navigating the highs and lows of life together. Sit back, grab your love mug, and let's get into today's conversation.
All right, babe. So it's exciting, these burpee challenges that we got out. It was a weird one. I don't even know where it came from, really. Hey, it was like just one day I woke up and I was like, I'm going to start doing burpees again.
Well, you've been doing burpees in the evening for quite a while again.
Yeah, it was February 20th. I started again.
That's right. You have that date marked down. So you're a good few months in. Yeah, and then randomly, did we come up with the idea together about burpees? And you were like, burpees? I don't know. I don't even remember.
Well, no, we just started doing them, and then I did them in the evening all the time, just with my. I do a lot of, we call it like bookending. Bookending. So it was like the morning and the night, or AM, PM, and in the PM I do meditation, some journaling, and I was doing burpees as just a form of like kind of movement every day. I mean, lift weights most days, but that was kind of a movement in the day. And then for me, burpees is a lot more of like kind of a mental release, and then same with a bit of kind of like active meditation, I call it. So medication
could be like your medication.
A little bit of both, yeah. But it always worked out nice. And then in the evening, I would do it, and I still wouldn't have any problem sleeping because I tell people about it, and they're like, "Why are you doing it at night, man? You're gonna wake up, or it's gonna really affect things." But I was okay with it. It would kind of put me to sleep. But then we switched, or I switched to the mornings, just because Lennox and I wake up fairly early, and then it was like, wow, what are we like? Just hang out for a while with him, right? But I was like, well, I got to do something with this time. So do it in the morning. And it's really nice in the morning, actually. I see why people are questioning that a little bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, getting them done at night, and it was fine. But in the morning, it really sets up my day. Feel good, wake up. And then you get that out of the way, and then it doesn't linger over you for the rest of the day. In my head anyway, right? I had that as, that's my goal, is to do burpees every day. So it was always just kind of there. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to then in the morning start working, and then I can cross that off my to-do list, and it's like the first thing I cross off, which is really nice.
Do you think it's like the hardest thing that you do in a day?
Most days.
Physically, right?
Physically, yeah. And then even just, it's a tough one to, it's not tough. It's not like these things are crazy, but at the same time, it's, it's there. So it's something physical that you have to face every day. Mm-hmm. So it is, it's a challenge for sure.
And that's like that, oh gosh, I can't remember who wrote that, but Eat That Frog. Remember that book?
Yeah.
Where it's like...
Was that Gay Hendricks? No.
Well, I was going to say Gay Hendricks. Yeah, where you do like your most kind of daunting task or your biggest thing that may cause you to procrastinate the most. You do that first. So you eat that frog, right?
Yeah.
So that does make a lot more sense that you do it in the morning. But I thought that it would be really cool to talk about this on a podcast today so you could give some information on it and get word out there more, because there's a lot of purpose behind your Dads Doing Burpees challenge. And I think that for men to hear that is really important, because you've boxed it up into Dads Doing Burpees and it's like a tangible daily activity. But I think we need to talk about the benefits that ripple out from doing this. So I have a few questions that I'm going to ask you. Number one, off the top, do you have to be a dad?
No, you do not have to be a dad. It was a great way to get, it's kind of I don't even know what you'd say. I don't want to say stereotype or anything, but it's like once you're a dad, then you got like no time working out always seems to be like the first thing to drop off the list once you're a dad.
Right. And
For,
then like the dad bod became popular.
yeah, for most men I talk to, right? It's like, well, I just have no time for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, exactly. Dad bod became popular until you get an argument, then you're just a fat fuck. And it's like, oh, you're so sexy. And then you get, but no, it's like, it's always the easy thing to put aside. It's always the first, like, genuinely, it's the first thing off the list. If there's like, if you're tired or not feeling good, like not feeling energetic or something, it's like right away, it's like, okay, I won't work out today. That seems to be the first thing struck up the list. And then, like I say, for most dads, that's always almost always the number one thing that gets struck off the list first. So that's why I wanted to talk to most dads, because I mean, I am a dad and I'm very fortunate that we could talk about it more, but get to do these with Lennox too, that he's really excited to do them with me. Extremely fortunate with that. But at the same time, by no means do you have to be a dad at all. This is just a group of men that getting together, and it's really big. It weighs big on me to get more men together and become more of more accountability and more everything, right? With just having men together, and we can feed off each other. And especially with something physical, you almost need somebody to feed off of. Like, you don't need a gym partner that you have to do them with every day right beside you, but just to have a group of people or have someone you're accountable to, that you say you're going to do something, then you do it. And it's a big thing for most men, like just psychology wise, like myself anyway, I don't want to let someone down. Like, I'll let myself down all the time, and I can make these agreements with myself and make these deals, and then best negotiator inside my own mind, and I can negotiate my way out of it. But if I make a plan with somebody or want to do something with someone, myself anyway, I put a lot of weight behind that, and I don't want to let them down. So when you get a group of men together, get any kind of, once you put it out in the world, and once you put that out into the group of, I'm going to do this every day for 10 days, that's what the group president, they're like, that's the outline of it. We'll get more into that too. But once you make that challenge for yourself and you get it out there and people know about it, it's like, hey, I don't want to let these people down.
Well, and it's interesting you say all that, because I think we talked about that in your men's group, or sorry, your men's work podcast a few episodes back, about having integrity with yourself, and really like putting, most men then when they have families end up putting the kids first, right? You go to work, you provide, you support them. And then your idea of taking time for yourself, at least your story in that podcast and your story of your life, because I know that well, is that you would numb out by watching TV. And that was like your take care of you time, right? Or stay up late. Whereas now this is like a positive aspect, a positive spin to it, of instead of numbing out watching TV or sleeping in or whatever that looks like, your idea of taking care of yourself because you've put everyone else first, it's a lot more of an empowering way of taking care of yourself, right? Because your physical body is being taken care of and you're moving energy. And then you're also building integrity, like you just said, with yourself, right? Like you won't let anyone else down. But by committing to 10 days of doing 50 burpees a day, you're starting to build integrity within yourself, right? And doing what you say you're going to do. And then that obviously trickles out into multiple areas of your life, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And there's just so many benefits off it, and so much ripple effects that not only affect you, but it just affects everybody around you, and the energy that you're putting out. And just even with your partner, right? Like your wife, she sees somebody that says, okay, you're going to do burpees for 10 days. Great. And then you actually do them, and you put that as a priority of like, hey, let's sit and, your TV show's on or something. Like, no, I gotta go do these burpees. And you do that once, it's like, oh wow, that's crazy. But you do that like 3, 4, 5 times, it's like, oh shit, this guy is like,
you're serious.
Yeah, and he's on a mission, and he has a purpose, right? And he's doing this, and that's just one side effect of that, right? Or like positive side effect of that, let alone like all the physical aspects and the mental that goes on with it.
Yeah, and I said that to you one night a few weeks back, right, where you came up from doing your burpees. That's when you were still doing them at night. But I was like, I'm not even I'm attracted to your body, obviously, and I can see the changes in your body through your physical, like your strength training, and then also your burpees. But I told you, like, I'm actually more attracted to your ability to follow through and to complete something for yourself, because you do it for us a lot. But to do something for yourself, I was like, that's what I'm attracted to. And I think that's hot and sexy. And then your physical appearance is sort of like a byproduct, a bonus byproduct of that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is. And then you see that, right? And it's it takes a long time to get that in your, like, get that into my head of like, it always seemed like a chore for a while. And it's weird because I self-imposed that. Like I just made this thing of like, hey, I'm going to do this, and then doing it, right? And keeping it going for, like, we're going on 2 months now of just every day, right? But it's crazy. Like, yeah, it's physical, and that's great, right? And like you said, the byproduct of that, and burning fat, gaining some muscle, working your core, working your arm, shoulders, butt, everything works when you're doing burpees, which is awesome. But at this, like, the same time, it's like, hey, I'm proving to myself that I'm doing something very hard and I'm sticking to it. And then now I'm proving to my wife, proving to my kids that, yeah, I can do this and I'm sticking to it. And then you're becoming that, especially for kids, like you're becoming that person, like that hero that does things, right? Like,
well, that's what I was going to say, because I'm like, what's been really cool to notice with our son Lennox is like, that's just what dad does. Like dad just does 50 burpees a day, right? Of course, you were doing them before you went to bed, so he didn't see it. So not so much then. Like he knew you talked about doing them. But then when you decided to start doing them in the morning, I guess we could talk about that a little bit. That's how this whole like the dad's part came about, right? Because then you're like, well, I could be better utilizing my morning time with Lennox. So then he just jumped in. Like, I don't even know, because I'm not there. I don't sleep well at night, so you guys let me sleep in a little bit more in the morning. Apparently, my pregnant body doesn't sleep in the night hours, but it likes to sleep in the like early morning hours. And Lennox is already up at 6:30 in the morning, so you guys let me get another extra hour or two in, and you come down. So I don't even know how that actually all played out. Where
yeah, no,
like,
well,
he just jumped right in, like,
yeah, because like with Lennox, especially these last couple of years, him and I have been very physical to each, like, again, with each other, right? Like we fight and wrestle, and like now he's in jiu-jitsu, so, and then I help out with jiu-jitsu too, so like we're together all the time, like just physically all the time, right? Like if we're not cuddling, we're fighting each other, right? And it just, that's what we do, and that's how we get on, and that's how we connect. So it's always been like, that's what it is. And then it wasn't even like a thought. It wasn't even, I didn't have to say anything, or I didn't say anything, right? It was just like straight away, he just jumped in and started doing burpees with me in the morning. Oh yeah, 100%. I was like, because I had him set up. He was going to watch some like, whatever he watches, like those YouTube videos and stuff, right? And he was going to sit there and watch that. And I was like, yeah, I just got to go downstairs, because it didn't even dawn on me to like get him involved.
To invite him, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know why, because it's what we do, right? But I just didn't think to involve him at all, or like to invite him. But then, like, obviously he just came downstairs with me, or like it might have been a couple minutes, and he was like, okay, well, what are you doing down there? So he came down and he just jumped in straight away and just started doing them with me. And then he's like, well, how many are we doing? And I was like, 50. And then right away he's like, okay, I'm going to do 100. So it's like, okay. So I was like,
challenge?
yeah. And I was like, well, damn, do I do 100 now? Like with them? It's like, no, you got to do 50. Like, settle down, old man. Like, keep this within what you want to do, right?
Yeah, because then you're going to overdo it.
Yeah,
and
like
you're gonna hurt yourself,
I have a goal. Yeah, I have a goal, or I have a mission that I want to keep going. So I got to keep it realistic and know my boundaries. So yeah, no, he just jumped in right away and started doing 100. And then, like, he really amazes me that like he does that, and he doesn't even, like, it wouldn't even phase him. Like he did 100.
Does he even break a sweat?
No, like he was sweating a little bit and like huffing and puffing a bit, but then just like, okay, well, what are we doing now? And just like doesn't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. And like that was a one-off, right? But then it happens again and again and again, and he does them every day with me. There's 2 days he took off, and that was it.
Well, and he was puking
because he was sick, right?
Yeah.
Which is fair. You guys if anyone gets sick, take time off to heal your body. But yeah, he took a few days off just because he was sick, and then jumped right back into him and just does it. Like, and that's all he does. Like, that's what he does. That's part of his life. And that's the biggest thing for me, is to keep that going, whatever it looks like, always. Like, that's just part of his life. And it will be weight training when he's a little older, and still with jiu-jitsu and wrestling and fighting and whatever that looks like, his path that he wants to take. And I'll always be there to support him. But it's like second nature. There's no like doesn't drag his feet, doesn't do anything. It's like, hey, what are we doing now? And it's just like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And he's just so physical, right? And
Yeah.
I noticed a big difference too. Like he was pretty even keel like this whole time I've been home for the most part, right? But I haven't noticed, I guess I'd ask you that too. Like I haven't noticed a huge change behavioral wise because of it. But I mean, there wasn't like real highs and lows before that anyway, that I was aware of. But I'm sure this will help, like this, well, it'll help regulate a lot too, right? Like it's a huge outlet.
Oh, for sure. And okay, so I was gonna say, like, he does do burpees at jujitsu. Like they have to do 5 or 10 or whatever if they lose or whatever their thing is, right, at their classes. But otherwise, like this isn't something that you and him have really done before. So I'm just putting that out there for like other parents who are like, oh, my kids would never do that, or what if they don't know how? And kids are also really, really awesome and smart at learning to do stuff. Like their bodies are so intelligent. They're not going to really hurt themselves. They're not lifting weights and like doing crazy things like that. But I was just sitting over here thinking like, okay, but back in the day, like you didn't do burpees with your dad. I mean, I didn't do burpees with my dad, but our dads didn't do burpees because our dads were working on the farm, right? Like our dads were physically working and doing stuff. And then we were out there physically working and doing that stuff with them too, right? And that's something that we're missing in today's world, right? I mean, obviously you could be listening to this and you're like, yeah, no, I'm a farmer or I have a very physical job and my kid sees that or whatever. But a lot of us now like live in the city or larger towns and have desk jobs, or even if we do have physical jobs, come home and then our kids don't see us physical, right?
No.
So then where's that like masculine figure in their life of teaching them the importance of movement and strength training and commitment and respect and integrity and strength and all of that stuff, right?
Oh, you nailed it. I never thought about the whole growing up the way we did. And I was pretty lucky too on the farm. Like, yeah, I worked but I was the baby in the family too, right? So like I worked and did whatever I had to and whatever was expected of me. But I mean, even my older brothers, I'm sure, have horror stories of the shit they had to do too, right? But yeah, I never thought of that. Like we had a well, like one of those like steel handle wells that was like in front of the house, but you had to take water to the barn. So it was like, that was a jaunt, right? And so you like remember carrying water pails back and forth, stuff like they call them farmer carries. Like that's literally what you're doing, right? You're carrying 5-gallon pails of water like back and forth, and just like you said, physical, like always hauling bales, like square bale, just everything you did was physical. Chopping wood. I grew up, we had a wood stove, like a wood furnace, so we had to chop wood and haul wood. And these are all things, yeah, I guess I didn't even think to mention, like you just take it for granted. That was just the way life was or is. But now, yeah, you nailed it. Like, I mean, literally have a desk job and don't do much. Or when I was in like construction, I would work my ass off, but at the same time, yeah, come home and that's when you shower and then you sit on the couch because you're so tired and you can talk about it, but no one sees how hard you worked, right? Yeah, you nailed it.
And again, it's not like they have to see how hard you worked, but it's just like, what are you teaching your son or your kids when they don't see that within you, right? Because we don't have the same lifestyle that we used to have, you know, generations past. Some people still have that for sure, but a lot of people don't. So I was just thinking about that as you were saying that, because in my mind I was like, yeah, well, like I could be a dad arguing that like I work hard during the day, or like, fuck that, I didn't grow up this way, but things are way different, right? Kids don't really have much responsibility. A lot of kids don't have much responsibility anymore, right?
No, and they don't need to, I guess, just the way the world is, right? Like you said, more people, more and more moving into the city, and even farms. Like there's not that little farm, very seldom, I should say, like around where we are and stuff. Like not the way I grew up, because it just, you can't sustain that. Like it just doesn't work now. You can't even pay your fuel bill, right? It's gone. So yeah, and then those big outfits, they're big outfits, so they have like hired hands and different things, right? So it's not all on dad and the kids to run this farm. Like there's other people involved too.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's yeah, definitely different times. Never really thought of that whole angle, but 100% that, yeah, you don't have to do that, right? And you just sit and play video games all day. And that's another thing I tell Lennox, like boy or girl, like Lennox is a boy and it's easy for him, the physical side, but even girls, like just to do this, like some physical activity like that. And yeah, you can be in sports and do different things, but this gives you that good outlet of like, it's a quick burn too. It's like 10 minutes, but you start doing that over time, you're gonna be in so much better shape than 99% of the people out there, that just everything will become so much easier for them.
Yeah. And I think what's cool to note in that too is, I think you have it on your sales page, like for boys to learn how to be integral with their self. They learn that through you as a dad showing them how to, right? And yeah, girls can learn to be integral with themselves through that as well. But I also think that a big thing girls are learning through their dads is the type of man that they want in their future, right? If the type of man, but like how he shows up, how he leads, and her standards get set through that, right?
Oh yeah, it shows what a man is and what she'll, exactly like you said, her standards. So she'll know if she gets herself in a situation, or if she gets older, it's like, this is not how a man does things, right? And she can get out of there before things get too toxic.
Yeah. So just bringing it back to like the kids of like, I think it's super cool what you've created in Dads Doing Burpees, because like I said, the boys and girls, your daughters and your sons participate. And it's like, not only do you get to spend some quality time together, but all of these ripple effect lessons that are coming with it, right? Like we said before, the integrity, the respect, the strength that you're building within yourself, but then with your kids and within your partnerships too. And to be honest, I mean, I'm sleeping when you guys are doing them, but if I wasn't sleeping, it's like a perk to a mom too, because it's like, hey, you guys are like doing something, and it's like something that's productive and quality time, right? And there was something else I was going to say about that. Oh yeah, one thing I was going to say about Lennox is that I did notice, so I have gotten up early a few times this week, and you guys hadn't done your burpees yet, and I just thought it was really cute that Lennox was like, Dad, when are we going to do our burpees? Are we going to go in 5 minutes? 2 minutes? How much longer till we do our burpees? And I was like, this kid is like on fire. And I just thought that was really cool. But I think it's too cool, or not cool. I think it's important to touch on. Holly cannot speak currently. We'll blame it on pregnancy. That's what we blame everything on these days. Zero personal responsibility. I think that it's neat to also say that like there's no forcing of kids to do this. Like there'll be days where kids want to join in on the challenge and days where kids don't want to join in on the challenge. And it's not like it's like a whip cracking, like get downstairs and do the burpees. Like you lead, and this is the perfect opportunity where it's like Dad's integral with himself and does what he says he's going to do and does these burpees at this time every day because he's committed to it. And then there's an invitation for the kids to join if they want, right? And they learn about themselves and about themselves through themselves, right?
Yeah, and it is. They're going to get it through osmosis. And yeah, there's going to be days when they don't want to do it. And I mean, there's days I don't want to do it, but at the same time, I made that deal with myself. And
yeah,
as a grown man, that I follow through with that. But I mean, they're kids, right? So you let that kid be a kid. And if it's not going to happen, that's fine. And then, you know, a day will pass or 2 days will pass. And if you keep doing them and just talk about it a little bit, like don't force them, don't make anyone feel bad, don't shame anybody, don't shame anything. They're going to come back to it. And if they don't, who cares? Get them involved. If they're saying it's too physical or something, just have them with you, have them count for you. You know what I mean? Like just little things that at least spend that quality time together. And then eventually they'll jump in regardless. It's going to happen.
Or do 10. Right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do 50.
By all means, right? Scale that absolutely scale that for them. And yeah, have them count or just be involved or in some way. And it'll still be, the benefits are still there.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just chat about the logistics of this really quickly. So the Dads Doing Burpee Challenge, it runs every 10 days. Or are you running it every 10 days?
Yeah, it'll go in waves. So we're going to start it'll be Monday. I don't know what day that is.
April 11th is when the first one starts. Yeah.
April 11th, and it'll be 10 days. So they'll go in waves of 10 days, but go back to my surfer days. My surfer day.
It was a weekend.
Oh, yes.
So days, you're not wrong.
In my mind, though, every day.
It's like a lifetime.
Yeah, but no, ride those waves. So it's like a 10-day wave. And if you want to stay on, obviously keep going and keep do another 10 days and make that every time 10 days comes up, we can sit down and, bring it up in the group. And that's where I want to have this. That's what we'll talk more like in the group, right? To have those comments of like, hey, I don't really feel like doing another 10 days, but I don't feel like it, but I want to. And then like, what are some pros and cons? And like we can get together as a group of men and hash that out. But in 10 days, yeah, do it. Make that agreement again, do it in 10 days. Or if you need to take some time off, take that time off for you, whatever that looks like. That's
and then
fine.
You can jump back
in. There's nothing saying you can't. But it's 10 days. But I really want to keep those 10-day blocks of real integrity of like, once you say you're going to do it, like really do it.
Yeah, you don't quit. And I think that's really cool that you're doing it in blocks, because then it's like a recommitment every 10 days, which is such example of life as well, right? That's how you build integrity, and you recommit to your goals and your vision every day or every moment or every 10 days in this case, right? So yeah, I think that's awesome. What if I'm a man wanting to participate in your challenge, but I can't do 50 burpees?
Yeah.
Due to a physical challenge or something, or an injury or something. Yeah.
Again, like we talked about, like for your kids, scale it, or for yourself, scale it. So in that group, there'll be, Instagram, and then we can do like, there's highlights on top of that, on top of your post or your feed. And then in the post too, there'll be infographics in that group. So the infographics will have, how-tos, some benefits, and then there'll be some different options for scaling. Like you can, that's the beauty of burpees. Like it's so simple, the actual movement. Well, I shouldn't, like there's some few, like 3 moves, call it, right? So I guess it's complex a little bit, but there's so many things that we can do with it. Like you can do a normal burpee, call that like the normal range, or you can scale it back to do certain things. Whether that's just we restrict some movements, or, not pushing up all the way, starting from a certain position, maybe not going full plank. There's so many different variations in that. So you can do that, or you can scale it up if these are like, yeah, you guys, 50 burpees, I could do that in my, like, whatever, right? Yeah. So that's fine. Then we can scale up to, holding dumbbells or doing it under a pull-up bar. And like every time you go up, you do a pull-up. There's so many different, again.
Or you do 100 or whatever.
Or you try to do 300, like in under 18 minutes. But yeah, no, there's so many variations. So that's the beauty of it. So it can go any which way.
Yeah. And if you have a unique situation, then obviously just reach out to you and you'll help them figure that out.
Absolutely. Like there's DM in that group, or like say, get it out in the group. And as a collective, we can come together and come up with some solutions.
Yeah. So what we didn't say is that, well, you kind of mentioned it now, but it is a private Instagram page, which essentially will only be people who are committed to doing the challenge. And within that page is these highlights that you have. But like you said, it's a private one. So you do have to register and request to join. And then in there will be posts and different things where you can ask questions, and you will be held accountable to, share that you've completed them, whether that's in a story or in a comment or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're not on Instagram, you can create an Instagram account really quickly, and then you don't have to do anything on Instagram except for join that group if that's what you want, right? We just decided that was probably the most beneficial way,
I think,
to run it.
Yeah, run it that way. Like then you're not on Facebook, or you're not involving all that. And then you can do it really easy snippets, because I want to have people, whether it's a picture of you or a video. I do videos all the time with Lennox, but some sort of, we call it proof, but just proof to yourself too, right? That like you got a picture together, or whatever that looks like, picture, video, I don't care, but it's just an easy way to get
accountability.
Yeah, the accountability, and it's just an easy way to get it on there too. So for us and for everybody, I think Instagram works the best for that. And being private, like I say, that group will be private, and you have to register, and you have to have skin in the game to do it. So it's nice. It's not just a bunch of people in there, and there won't be there won't be trolls in there, just like whatever, right? Like it's literally a group that had to go through a process to get in, and once you're there, it's a safe container to just be vulnerable, but at the same time, show that we're doing these burpees.
Yeah. So it's on Instagram, it's at Dads Doing Burpees. That's the username that you would search. And then there'll be a link that shows up in the bio that you have to click to register, and then you'll gain access to the Instagram group.
Yeah, and there'll be obviously a link in the show notes as well to the registration page and different things. But that's just it. Yeah, register in, and then we go from there.
Okay, cool. And so there's 2 more things I want to ask you quickly before we end this one. So I noticed on your sales page, it says integrity, respect, and strength. What do those 3 words mean? Like what and why are they tied to burpees? Burpee challenge.
Well, the challenge, Dad's doing burpees. Well, for like the respect thing is obviously you nailed it a little bit too. Respect for yourself. And like I say, I can make so many agreements with myself and not keep them. And this ties into integrity as well. But after, if I don't keep them, I lose all respect for myself for a while. And it's terrible, right? And so hard on myself for that. So that's respect for my kids is a big one, a huge one.
For your kids or from your kids?
Well, watching Lennox do them, I have a lot of respect for him.
True, yeah.
But I'm thinking it through his eyes of just having respect for your dad. Watching this man do these things, right? And again, it maybe it seems so trivial from the outside, but once you're in it, it's it seems easy on the surface, but after a while, it is a challenge. But at the same time, it's like watching your kid just look at you like that. Like, can't really explain it. I can't articulate it right now with words, but there's no better feeling. I guess that'd be the best way to put it. And then obviously you nailed it with your partner, with your wife, of getting that respect back, right? Because it's taken, like, I know myself anyway, in our story of, there was I did a lot of things to lose your respect and chip away at that and really, really not be that man for you, right? But doing these little things will build that back up and hopefully getting that respect back from you, right? To show that, I said I'm going to do this, I'm doing it, and then all the byproducts off of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the respect's a big one, and then integrity, touched on it a bit, but again, saying going to do something and do it. There's really not much else to say about that one. Just actually doing what you're going to say, because so many people are so wishy-washy nowadays that it just doesn't happen. So having that is massive. And then, like I say, in that group environment, having that accountability is just, it makes it so much better. And especially as men, we really thrive on that. Myself anyway, like once I say I'm going to do something to a group of men, it's like, okay, I got to do this, right? Like there's no really backing out of that, or there's no negotiating my way out of that. So that's a big one. And then, physically it's just, there's no, like, strength is, the weight training is fine. And like, not fine, it's great. It's really good, right? Moving heavy things and doing different things. But this just keeps everything, like, it works everything all the time. It's like you're working your legs, your butt, your shoulders, your arms, your chest, your core. And even if that's all you do, if you don't have time to lift weights, right? Like this is literally 10, 15 minutes out of your day. That's like warm up, stretch, do the burpees, and then afterwards stretch or just chill out for a bit. Like that is 10, 15 minutes. The benefits on your body are just outrageous.
Well, and you've talked about this, I think, in that episode about men's work as well, or I've heard you talk about it on other podcasts, and maybe I just hear you talk about it because I live with you.
Well, you talk a lot.
And that was your story, right? Of starting with your physical body, starting down this journey of like growing and evolving in yourself and in your relationship, started with your physical body and moving your body and gaining confidence. And then I'm the geek on like energy and emotions and how we move all that when we move our bodies. So there's like so much deeper things going on. But for you, I know I've heard you say before too, that like working on your physical body is kind of like the gateway to doing inner work, and without doing inner work though, and building that confidence within yourself as a man. Right. And then that shows up in other areas of your life as well.
Yeah, for most men, it's definitely the gatekeeper. And once your body's right, it makes it a lot easier to get your mind right. Because I don't know what it is about us, but it's just something that, like, if you're not feeling great, if you're not in good shape, if you're just not looking in the mirror and liking what you see, for some reason anyway, myself anyway, I know I can only speak to myself, is like, if I don't see that and not okay with it, just everything else is just a jumbled mess. And it's kind of like pointless, right? And like, what am I doing this all for?
Then I guess that's where you lose respect for yourself, right? And your integrity, because you're like, well, I don't want to look like this, but I do look like this. And
oh, it all goes downhill so fast. Yeah, so fast.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say one thing, because I do see like a lot of relationships fail in the way of like, you know, she doesn't respect me. My kids don't respect me. Like, there's no respect. So just bringing it back to that, I wanted to say really quickly that when you have respect for yourself, when you have integrity for yourself, when you feel strong or, you know, grow your strength, it all starts first with you, right? Your personal responsibility, and then other people. So your kids, your wife, your colleagues, your friends. It's like a new level that you have a boundary of and a standard for that they must start respecting, right?
Oh, for sure.
So I love that you tied those three things together. I think that those really just makes so much sense. And like, I love that it's bundled into something tangible. Like, how do I build respect? How do I build integrity? How do I get stronger? Oh, hey, come do Dad's Doing Burpee Challenge.
Well, it is, man.
It's all bundled up inside of here, and you won't even think about it because you're out of breath. Or, I mean, I don't want to scare you off, but I haven't done burpees for a long time, but I imagine you're out of breath.
Yeah.
But it feels good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like the ROI on that, like the return on investment of 10 to 15 minutes of your life every day, which is nothing. Like you just said, all those benefits, the respect, the integrity, all of that is 10 to 15 minutes a day. That's all it takes. And that's what you get.
And you could spend 10 to 15 minutes a day, like telling yourself why you can't do it or why you shouldn't do it. And you could already be done by now, and then building integrity and respect and strength.
Well, most men will waste 10, 15, well, like half hour in the bathroom, right? Looking on their phone, hiding from the outside world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, spend literally 10 to 15 minutes and you get all of that back. There's nothing more. There's no amount of money that you could invest that has that big of payoff.
Yeah.
There's just not.
Yeah. Okay. Last question we have to ask you. You must really love doing burpees.
I get that a lot because it was funny because even when we were in London, right? Like I seen the guy that did Spartan races, and he said he could do 300 burpees. He does, I don't know, 300 burpees in
He does
in 18 minutes. 300 burpees. Like, there's no fucking way I got to do this. So I tried for 9 weeks. To do 300 burpees in 18 minutes, and I couldn't get there.
What did you get to?
I can't remember. It was like, I'll
20
link.
minutes or something?
I got the link. I got a bunch of YouTube videos at 20 or 21, I think, 21 minutes.
Okay.
And then I don't know why. I kind of revisited that a couple days ago. We were talking about it. It's like, I don't know why I quit. I think I hit I just felt defeated the last time I did it. I was like, I gave that a real effort. Like I gave that every time I did. You watch the videos, you see me crying and sweating and whatever else. But that last one just took a lot out of me when I looked at the clock. And I was like, oh, I don't know where I can shave 3 minutes. I don't know where I can do it. Like I don't know why or what, but who knows? I'll have to fire that back up and try that again. Just cause that's what we got to do. But so anyway, so that happened. And then I would go through phases of doing burpees for a while and not doing burpees for a while, and talking to coworkers about it, talking to anybody really about it, and get that a lot. It was always like, oh, you must really like burpees. It's like just like Wim Hof. I remember Brian Rose. He does London Real podcast, and he asked that, I think, and he's like, no, I fucking hate the cold, because Wim Hof is all about cold, right? It's like, no, I fucking hate the cold. And that's why I always say, like, you must really like burpees. Like, no, I fucking hate burpees. Like, it's a hate, love, hate, I guess. Hate, love, hate. But it's a tough thing to do. But at the same time, the benefits, the ROI on those things, there's no better payoff.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it's tons of fun.
So yeah, you don't have to love doing burpees to join Dad's Doing Burpees Challenge.
No, but it is the thing. It's a tangible thing that makes everything else so much better. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I thank you for really planting that seed and getting that moving and figuring out a way, like, how can we do this? And now that we have it together, it's an easy package. You literally, all you have to do is type your name and your email, and you'll be into this group and start doing burpees. The hardest thing is doing the burpees, and you have to prove to me that you did the burpees, right? And even if you fail, right? Like if you miss a day, miss 2 days, something happens, get that in the group, and we'll figure it out together. And whatever that looks like, if we have to scale them back or whatever, but at least just get doing something, and you'll have that accountability, and I'll be there for you. And I noticed that in all men's groups I'm in, and anything with men, it's like, start supporting each other, and it just really builds off each other.
Well, and you just did a workshop on vulnerability recently, and I feel like you just touched on that completely by like, most men that are listening to this may be hesitant to even join the challenge because they're like, oh, but what if I fail, or I've failed in the past, or like, what if I miss a day? But you talk about this all the time, like, own it. Yeah, I missed a day. I was sick, or I hurt myself, or I was just too lazy, or I forgot, or whatever, right? But the lesson in that is, and what you can learn in doing the burpee challenge is that you own it, and then you get back to it, and you keep going, and then you build integrity through that. And that's how you do everything in your life, right? We're all human. We're all going to fuck up. We're all going to miss a day of something, but then we just own it, personal responsibility, and then keep going, keep trucking on, right? And I think that's exactly what your support group, your men's group will support, right? In moving past those old stories and shit stuff that's holding you back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it is. There's always going to be something, and whatever. It's just a group of men that'll come together and rally around that, and just make everyone feel supported and welcome. And like I said, it seems almost trivial, but it's not. The payoff is just massive. It's crazy.
So I just thought of one last question that I'll ask you. What is your goal, or like your vision, or like, what would you love to see Dads Doing Burpees challenge create for the future of the men who listen to your podcast, or the men who work with you, or the men who are just coming to join the challenge?
Right. That is going to be more of I thought about this a bit, actually. This is the thing to get everyone together. There's always something to like band people together, and this would be that banding moment of everyone having a goal. Like we put that 50 burpees as a goal, and everyone working towards that all the time, and meeting that. And then off of that, I mean, I really want to get a group of men together for more masterminding, more of like a week, once a week group of, or even bi-weekly of men talking. And then I've done a lot of like, I've got training on group facilitation with other men. So to facilitate some groups, and we start talking more of, we talk about the burpees. Yeah, we can talk about things come up in a relationship. We can talk about things in your career, and just get everyone together, and we can really get rallying around that. So I feel like that's what it's going to turn into, as a circle of men, just to help make other men strong. And like that burpees is kind of like a prerequisite to show, to, like I say, have a little bit of skin in the game, but then it just gets that step further. And then everyone opens up a little more, gets more vulnerability. And then it's just like, we're just making men strong. So then we have the physical part, and then we're going to dive into that mental part and the relationship part. And that's kind of everything I stand for. So, I mean, all of that, it all comes full circle.
And then, so what I'm hearing you saying is, ultimately at the end of the day, it's making men stronger, more well-rounded, so that they can have purpose and not stay stuck in the shit that's holding them back, and create the life and the relationships, and be the dads, be the people that like they really want to be, right? As cliche as that sounds. Oh
yeah, absolutely. And it's all I want every guy, I want these families to stay together is what I want. Because there's so many kids that are wishy-washy now because they don't have all of that. Like, I know there's so many factors that go into everything, and I get that. I understand. I'm not naive. But at the same time, if we can figure out ways to get these men strong, respecting themselves, get respect back from their families, get integrity with themselves, odds are that relationship's going to work out. It's going to be, well, not even work out. It's going to be strong, and that's going to keep building. And then your kids will see that, and those kids will be strong men, strong women when when they grow up. And that's everything we stand for, is that next generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they see that, and then then they won't have to go through the shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that stops that generational stuff. That stops the shit that you've put on yourself or just made. Then your kids won't see that. So they don't have to go through all that mumble jumble. They'll have the physical already, and then they can go in those relationships. And again, they're going to run into their own little issues, but they're going to be so strong mentally and physically that they can get through this stuff, right?
Yeah, like they'll have tools.
Yeah.
And awareness.
That they learned from their dad. And those things, it's something about learning from your dad that you kind of hold, most people anyway. I know myself, like, if my dad taught me something or showed me something or told me something, like, I could fucking see that thing is black. But if my dad said it was white and whatever, and he taught, like, I will definitely think that first. Like, I'll take almost every lesson that he's ever taught me, and I'll take that almost as gospel before anything else, right? So learning this kind of stuff from your dad, I mean, that's this next generation of men and women that we're making is going to be unstoppable.
Well, that's really interesting because we totally put our parents on pedestals, right? Because we're kids and we look up to them. And then that carries on through our whole life until we generally reach a part in our adult life where we realize that our parents are just everyday people just like us, right? And they're all doing the best that they can, same as us. And that kind of fantasy starts to crumble. But just really cool listening to what you're saying, because then it's like, but what if you were that for your kid from the beginning? And it's not to hold their level of perfectionism and that you're this like godly figure. You are still human and going to mess up and in your child's eyes. But if that was just less, right? Like if the impact you had on your children was even stronger because you did lead yourself first and then could teach them how to lead themselves through your own actions, then there's going to be more of that, like, I really do respect my dad and have him, again, not to say like that you want your kid to have you on a pedestal their whole life, but for them to look up to you.
Well, at least
right?
have a reason to be on that pedestal. You can be the biggest piece of shit and you'll still be on that pedestal.
Exactly.
So give your kid a fucking reason for being up there.
Be an empowering person on the pedestal, right? For your kid's life, not the reason for all of their dysfunction.
Exactly. Or a lot of it anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's awesome. Let's wrap that up there. Well, it's great. I love talking to you like this. Yeah.
I'm excited for I'm not a dad and I ain't doing burpees, but I'm excited for all of you.
That's awesome. Okay.
I'll cheer you on.
Well, like Laura said, definitely it's at Dads Doing Burpees. And there'll be links to the challenge. So the sign up page that you can sign up on, and then we'll get you into the group. I mean, we'll put those links everywhere. They'll be in the show notes. They'll be on our Instagram, on our link tree. I have a lot of stories out right now. Every morning I do my burpees. I'm putting that link out there. So yeah, everybody click that link, get signed up, get going on it. And yeah, all I can say is we'll see you in there, and it's a challenge, but it's going to be tons of fun at the same time.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, I love you.
I love you too.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Check out our offerings on social media at The Revived Couple and online at therevivedcouple.com. Have a request for a show topic? We love that. Send us an email at michael@larocquelife.com or DM at The Revived Couple.
And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.